In the beginning of the series, it is introduced Takemichi is a 26-year-old man who has a messy room. One day, he hears on the news on TV about the conflict of Tokyo Manji Gang. This conflict led to civilian casualties, including Tachibana Hinata. Takemichi is surprised to hear the news. It turns out Tachibana Hinata was his girlfriend in middle school. One day, after hearing about Hinata's passing, Takemichi goes to the train station, but he experiences a strange thing. A mysterious figure pushes him on the tracks as the train comes and hits him. However, he doesn't die. Instead, he is sent to the past, 12 years ago when he was still able to see Hinata. He tries to remain calm despite he feels confused. After that, he meets Naoto, Hinata's younger brother. Takemichi tells him to take care of his sister. Naoto nods and they shake hands. Unexpectedly, as they both shake hand, Takemichi is sent back to the present, where he lives today. He wakes up and sees Naoto, but he doesn't meet Hinata. Therefore, Takemichi intends to go back to the past. On Naoto's idea, Takemichi has no choice but to go back in time again and prevents the two leaders of Tokyo Manji Gang, Manjiro Sano and Kisaki Teta, so that they wouldn't meet each other. If he succeeds, it will save Tachibana. Naoto does investigation on the gang. After the former leader died in a miserable way, Tokyo Manji Gang was absolutely fierce and dangerous. Takemichi experiences their violence firstly when he is knocked out by Kiyomasa's men. Unconsciously, Takemichi asks Kiyomasa if he could introduce him to Manjiro Sano or Kisaki Teta. It turns out he shouldn't have asked him that. Kiyomasa gets angry and begins beating him with his bat. Takemichi is severely injured and he walks limping. 14 years old, Takemichi was a coward. He let people beat him up and became Kiyomasa's slave. Thanks to Hina, he overcomes his fear and challenges the king of the fighting club, Kiyomasa. Kiyomasa accepts Takemichi's challenge as it would be an interesting duel between the boss and his slave. As the fight starts, Takemichi gets beaten and he realizes vast difference between Kiyomasa and himself. Kiyomasa keeps beating him up and his men pity Takemichi for being in a broken down state. Even though Takemichi is beaten up, he refuses to give up and tries to attack Kiyomasa. Thanks to his endless effort, he manages to make Kiyomasa out of energy. Takemichi doesn't intend to run away. He has a reason not to walk away from the fight. He doesn't want to feel the pathetic thing of having to walk away any longer like he did back then. As the battle between Takemichi and Kiyomasa goes on, someone walks to the center of the field. He tells Kiyomasa not to be enthusiastic about what he has done. That person is vice leader of Tokyo Manji Gang, Ryuguji Ken, or usually known as Draken. Recently, Draken seems to feel there is someone tailing on him. Takemichi seems to know him from the picture that Naoto had showed him in the future. This person is none other than the leader of Tokyo Manji Gang, Sano Manjiro, or also known as Sano Mikey. Mikey walks towards Takemichi and asks for his name. Suddenly, Mikey says that Takemichi was one of his friends. After that, he walks towards Kiyomasa and begins to beat him. Mikey leaves after beating up Kiyomasa. On the other hand, Takemichi feels burdened as Mikey is interested with him. Takemichi feels no difference between being Kiyomasa's slave and Tokyo Manji's slave. Takemichi has seen Mikey directly. He doesn't believe that he would do many crimes. Takemichi then asks Mikey his reason why he was interested with him. Mikey replies that Takemichi resembles his older brother who had passed away. After that, Takemichi goes back to the future. Naoto suggests Takemichi to travel the time in his room as it is dangerous. As Naoto asks him if his mission to prevent Manjiro Sano meets Kisaki Teta has succeeded, Takemichi says that he has met Mikey, nicknamed for Manjiro Sano. He explains that Mikey was a good guy. While searching for clues that will lead them to Mikey, Takemichi meets his old friend, Atsushi Sendo, or usually called by Akun. Takemichi finally finds that Akun was a member of Toman gang in the future. It turns out that Akun was the person who pushed Takemichi at the train station. Takemichi asks Akun to quit from Toman, but Akun says that he was afraid of someone called Kisaki Teta. Akun then jumps from the building and died. Because Sendu or Akun died, Takemichi and Naoto have to investigate from the beginning. They investigate Ryuguji Ken or Draken's death, where he died from being stabbed with a knife during 50 members of motorcycle gang brawl in the parking lot of Musashi Temple in Shibuya District, Tokyo on August 3, 2005. Naoto explains that the brawl happened between Draken's faction and Mikey's faction in Toman. However, Takemichi doesn't believe that both of them had a fight. Naoto finally asks Takemichi to investigate Draken's death and save him. Furthermore, according to Ikun, Manjiro Sano or Mickey changed after Draken's passing. Both of them then shake hands and Takemichi goes back in time. Draken suddenly asks Takemichi to come over to Musashi Temple. It turns out Takemichi is invited to the place as Mikey and his gang gather to discuss about Mobius. The leader of Mobius, called Osanai, caused a trouble. His friend, Pa Chin, was tortured. Even his girlfriend was beaten. Mobius wields Shinjuku District, while Toman wields Shibuya District. Finally, Mikey shouts to them to destroy Mobius. They decide to attack Mobius on August 3rd during the Musashi Festival. That day, Draken's death happened. Takemichi then decides to be Draken's bodyguard, but Draken declines him immediately. After that, it is told Draken's life story in the past. Draken is born in Shibuya Red Light District. His mother is a prostitute and left him when he was only 2, and he doesn't know who his father is. Young Draken lived in a brothel. When he met Mikey for the first time, he was surprised to see Mikey, who has petite feature, far from what he thought. Draken didn't ask him to fight, but instead inviting Mikey to meet Samiyama gang. When they got to Samiyama, Mikey instantly ran and jump-kicked Samiyama, beating him and scared the rest. After that, Mikey asked Draken to be his friend. Since that day on, they became best friend. Short story tell, Takemichi finally finds Draken's death was merely someone's deception when he meets Osanai in the future. However, Osanai refuses to mention who the person is as he doesn't want to get involved with Toman. Takemichi and Naoto finally agree that the conflict between Toman and Mobius shouldn't happen. Takemichi then goes back in the past. Once again, Takemichi meets Toman and asks Mikey to drop his duel with Mobius as Toman is trapped by someone. However, Pa Chin punches Takemichi, but Takemichi refuses to give up. He even kneels down asking them to cancel their plan. Draken minds Takemichi's words and suggests Mikey to investigate Mobius first. However, Mikey gets angry at Draken as he thinks that Draken opposes Toman. Just then, Osanai comes and walks towards them. Osanai doesn't come alone. He comes with his gangs and ready to attack Toman first. It is an unequal fight. Toman has only 5 people including Takemichi, while Mobius has a great number with them. Pa Chin advances to fight Osanai, but Osanai beats him up and Pa Chin must admit defeat. Mikey charges after that and knocked Osanai in one punch in his head. Mikey. Osanai tries to attack him by holding a bottle. Draken comes forwards and defeats him. Despite being outnumbered, Toman manages to win this fight. As they are about to leave when they hear the police siren car, Pa Chin suddenly stabs Osanai with a knife from behind. The police arrive and Pa Chin chooses to give himself up while the rest run away so that they are not to get caught. Takemichi faints and he wakes up in hospital accompanied by Emma. When he feels better, Takemichi is discharged. Draken comes at his house to see him. There he tells Takemichi that Pa Chin is sentenced to a year's imprisonment, while Osanai is still alive. However, Draken gets angry as Takemichi asks him about Mikey. As Draken is about to leave, Mikey is already in front of Takemichi's house, and both leaders of Toman reunite unexpectedly as both of them want to see Takemichi. They start fighting over small things. Takemichi tries to stop them, but to no avail. Mikey throws Takemichi's bike to Draken and their fight is in sight. Takemichi is at his limit. He tells Mikey and Draken to stop. Takemichi is angry seeing Mikey and Draken are fighting in front of his house and breaks his valuable personal stuffs. Takemichi scolds them. He bows and kneels down. His tears flow unknowingly rolls down his face. He then warns them people behind them might begin to hostile each other. The tension between them finally melts. They sit together in the park and Draken then admits that he was at fault. Mikey follows to apologize to him, When Takemichi asks them what made them fight, they answer they forgot about that. They then make up their friendship. Kenichi realizes he has changed history as the two leaders of Toman have made up and Draken will not die in the conflict. Now it is the 3rd of August in 2005. Takemichi and Draken are waiting in front of the festival. Yamajisu calls Takemichi. He tells Takemichi to warn Draken to be careful because Mikey faction, which have created when Mikey and Draken split up, is after Draken. Although Mikey and Draken has made up, but Mikey faction still doesn't accept that. Takemichi is surprised and hurries to look for Draken and reluctantly leaves Hinata. There, Takemichi sees several members of Toman and Kiyomasa, but one of them finds Takemichi, who is currently eavesdropping their conversation. They then start beating Takemichi and ties Takemichi with a duct tape and leave him. Some moments later, Hinata finds him. Takemichi is ashamed with his condition and asks Hinata to leave him. Instead of following his order, Hinata kisses him and encourages him. Takemichi then decides to go to look for Draken. In his way, Takemichi encounters Mitsuya. Mitsuya says Pian is going to attack Draken. Meanwhile, Takemichi says that Kiyomasa is the person who is in charge to attack Draken. Peiyan doesn't like Draken, who is against Toman's intention to pay to free Pachin. Meanwhile, Peiyan finds Draken, who is walking with Emma. Peiyan thinks Toman abandons Pachin, who is imprisoned. Peiyan finally teams Yo with the rest of Mobius members to oppose Draken. Their fight ensued even though it is unequal battle because Draken alone must fight Peiyan and numerous Mobius members. Takemichi and Mitsuya finally find Draken in the parking lot. When Mitsuya is ready to help Draken, Mikey arrives not long after that. Draken and Mitsuya recognize Mike's motor. It turns out Mikey had trapped and was asked to meet in different place. It has apparently planned by Hamasuji, the temporary Mobius leader, taking Ozane's place. When Hama tells his men to start attacking Mikey, Draken, Mitsuya, and Takemichi, also several captains of division and its members arrive at the scene. Now they are equal, and the brawl between Toman and Mobius begins. Toman is ahead over Mobius and manages to outwit them. Mikey comes to Peiyan, who punches him several times. Apparently, Mikey lets him doing that. Mikey tries to talk to Peiyan, who can't accept Toman didn't do anything about Pachin. Finally, Peiyan comes to his sense and starts crying before him. Meanwhile, Takemichi tries to search Draken in the middle of the brawl. Takemichi then spots Kiyomasa. He is surprised to see him holding a knife covered in blood. Not far from his place, Draken lays on the ground covered in blood. Takemichi rushes to see him and calls out his name, but Draken doesn't move. Mikey is angry knowing Draken is injured. Suddenly, Hanma arrives and punches Mikey. Hanma is quite strong. He nearly even Mikey. As he must fight Hanma, Mikey tells Takemichi to take care of Draken. Takemichi then carries Draken on his back to the hospital. On the way, he encounters Hinata and Emma. Apparently, they have called an ambulance. They then decide to wait for the ambulance. However, the ambulance hasn't come yet. Kiyomasa and Mobius arrive. Takemichi thinks it was over. Not long after that, Draken wakes up and calls his name. Draken thanks him and asks Takemichi to flee with Hinata and Emma. Hearing his words, Takemichi cannot hold back his emotion. He cries hard, but he intends not to run away this time and becomes a braver person. Takemichi gathers his courage and challenges Kiyomasa in a fight, saying that their duel isn't over yet. Draken says he bet 100 million yen for Takemichi's winning, followed by Hinata and Emma. The duel between Takemichi and Kiyomasa continues. Unfortunately, as their duel starts, Kiyomasa stabs Takemichi's left palm with a knife. Takemichi doesn't give up and he tries to fight Kiyomasa with any ways. Finally, Takemichi manages to defeat Kiyomasa, but he still must face Mobius in front of him. He tells Hinata to run away with Emma, and the second duel soon begins. Takemichi and Draken have to fight Mobius. Fortunately, Akun and their friends come to help them.
Nani メソメソしてんだよ。泣き虫のヒーロー。溝中5人衆。俺たちに任せろ。アープのように刺せ。
Unfortunately, they get beaten by Mobius, but they refuse to give up. After that, it is heard a serene police car from afar. Mobius chooses to flee and leaves Kiyomasa, who is still lying unconsciously. Not long after that, Emma and Hinata come with medical team and an ambulance. Short story tells, Draken is sent to the hospital in the ambulance and accompanied by Takemichi. Finally, Draken is alive. Takemichi and other Toman members feel relieved Draken has survived. Takemichi sees Mikey sitting alone while crying. It turns out he is trying hard to hide his fear from others. 1 week has passed. Takemichi is known as the champion in one night, and he is respected by the delinquents. When Takemichi goes to the hospital to see Draken, Draken scolds him because his overconfidence. Draken gives him Toman's uniform. Takemichi then goes to look for Mikey on the rooftop. Mikey feels strange that Takemichi knows all about that and asks him who he is, but Mikey laughs seeing the clothes Takemichi is wearing. He then thanks Takemichi for saving Draken. Takemichi decides to go back to the future. Nato calls him and tells him their mission has succeeded. Everything has changed. Nato asks Takemichi to meet his sister, Hinata. Short story tell, Takemichi finally meets Hinata and walks together in a park. There is difference between the past and the future. In the past, Takemichi was dumped by Hinata, while in the future version, Hinata is dumped by Takemichi. Realizing that Hinata still has feeling for him, Takemichi cannot explain anything and rushes to the restroom and asks Hinata to go their car first. As Takemichi walks to the car, he sees Hanma. Hanma mumbles to himself thinking that Takemichi was in the car. Takemichi suddenly has a bad feeling and he runs to the car. Arriving there, he witnesses Hinata is hit by a car. Takemichi is surprised to find the person who hit Hinata is Akun. Badly injured, Akun once again says the same things with his words on the top of the building in the past. He says he was afraid of Kisaki. A moment later, Akun's car explodes. Takemichi immediately goes to the car where Hinata is. Hinata is also injured severely. Her legs even cannot move and numb. Takemichi hugs her tightly, but Hinata pushes him until he is bounced out of the car. A second later, the car also explodes, and Hina once again dies. Takemichi promises to himself he will always save Hina and become the leader of Toman. Takemichi and Nato go to Hina's house where she is laid in state. Takemichi determines to save Hina. After that, Takemichi and Nato go to meet Draken in the future. It turns out Draken who had saved before he becomes a death row inmate in the future. Drake explains all of this was caused by Kisaki. If Draken could go back in time, he would kill Kisaki. After that, Takemichi returns to the past. He is having bath in a public sauna with Mikey and Draken. Both of the Toman leaders tease each other, argue, and laugh together. After they finish their bath, there is the head of Toman division in front of the sauna, waiting for them. Apparently, Mikey and Toman plans to appoint a new captain of the 3rd Division. Takemichi has thought he will be appointed as the captain, but it turns out Kisaki Teta is the person who will be the captain. Kisaki walks forward with confidence and arrogant face. Toman gang then shouts at him because he is considered not polite by sitting back to Maki and Draken. Takemichi is surprised to see Kisaki. For the first time, he sees the face of the person who becomes the mastermind of murdering of himself, Hinata, Akun, and Nato in the future. Furthermore, Kisaki was a former member of Mobius. Members of Toman immediately raise a protest against him and shout at him, asking him to step back. Draken then walks forward and tells his men to silence as it is Mikey's decision. Not long after that, Mikey walks forward and explains Toman will fight Valhalla gang soon. Valhalla is far greater than Mobius, therefore they need to increase their strength by recruiting Kisaki Teta in their gang. Kisaki is known as the guy who has united their young generation in Mobius. Takemichi is still angry. He then comes forward and punches Takemichi on his face. Everyone is surprised to see his action. Takemichi cannot explain anything as it is not possible to explain them what happens in the future. Suddenly, Baji Kisuke steps up and attacks Takemichi, but is stopped by Mitsuya. Baji then shouts at Mikey, telling him that he quits from Toman and will follow Valhalla. He then announces since that day on, he becomes the enemy of Toman. Kisaki walks towards Takemichi and punches his face. Takemichi falls on the ground, losing his conscience. As he wakes up, he finds Mikey next to him. Mikey asks Takemichi if he dislikes Kisaki, and asks Takemichi to bring Baji back to Toman. It turns out besides Draken, Baji is an important figure in Toman who is valued by Mikey. He is Mikey's childhood friend and is one of the founders of Toman together with Mikey, Draken, Mitsuya, and Pa-chin. Without a doubt, Takemichi immediately accepts Mikey's words with one condition. Takemichi asks Mikey to get rid of Kisaki from Toman. Mikey agrees to Takemichi's request. Mitsuya, who is eavesdropping their conversation, is called by Mikey and Takemichi, then is decided to join Mitsuya's division. It means that Takemichi officially becomes a member of Toman. After Mikey and Mitsuya leave him, Takemichi finds an old picture of Toman founders, Mikey, Draken, Mitsuya, Pa-chin, Baji. Strangely, there's one more person next to Baji. Elsewhere, Baji is seen meet someone named Kazutora. He is the person in the picture before. Valhalla is actually a gang, a collection of former members of Mobius, an anti-Toman faction, where Hamasuji becomes the shadow leader, and there is a mysterious figure that becomes the real leader. That's why Valhalla is known as the angel without a head. In the middle of conversation, Takemichi and his friends, suddenly Hanemiya Kazutora comes to meet Takemichi. Kazutora wants to invite Takemichi to Valhalla headquarters. Arriving at their headquarters, Takemichi feels an ominous aura around him. In front of him, Takemichi sees Baji, who is beating one of vice captain of the Toman's first division. Baji is doing denial and testing his faith to join Valhalla. It is then revealed Kazutora's intention, bringing Takemichi to their place, is to make him a witness, and is questioned by Hama about all Baji's words in Toman meeting before. As they think Baji has met 2 qualifications, Hama then announces Baji officially joins Valhalla, but Takemichi tries to fail them. He mentions about Baji's position, which also a founder of Toman. Unexpectedly, Kazuto is also one of Toman founder. He is the 6th person in the picture Takemichi found before. Baji then remembers when he was still in the 1st grade of middle school in 2003 with Kazutora, Mikey, Draken, Mitsuya, and Pa-chin. These 6 youngsters created Tokyo Manji or Toman. They took picture together in summer when Toman's uniform was made. After that, an incident happened when they were in 1st grade in middle school in 2003. It was summer. Mikey, Draken, Baji, Kazutora, Pa-chin, and Mitsuya were on the way to the sea to Yokohama. It turned out Kazutora killed Shinichiro Sano. Shinichiro Sano is Mikey's older brother. It was caused by Baji, and Kazutora wanted to steal a motorcycle that would be given as a birthday present to Mikey, and the bike shop they broke into was Shinichiro Sano's. Because they had been caught, Kazutora, who didn't know Shinichiro, beat him from behind until he died.
お前圭介か新一郎君なんでここにあここ一郎君のやめろカズトラ
Kazutora then blamed Mikey, as it all happened because of him. It led Kazutora to hold grudge against Mikey and intended to kill him. Takemichi, who finally finds out that Kazutora and Baji are the people who caused Shinichiro Sano's death, realizes that it would be difficult to bring Baji back to Toman. Hamasuji then tells Takemichi to tell Mikey that Valhalla and Toman's fight will occur in 1 week in an abandoned car lot. As Takemichi is confused what to do, he meets the vice captain of Toman's first division, Matsuno Chifuyu. He is the person who got beaten by Baji yesterday as the sign of denial and condition, so he would be accepted joining Valhalla. Chifuyu reveals a surprising fact that it turns out Baji has another mission. His intention in joining Valhalla isn't to destroy Toman, but he wants to expose Kisaki Teda. Takemichi and Matsuno then meet Mikey and Draken at Shinichiro's grave. Mikey admits that he understood if the incident happened towards Shinichiro couldn't be changed, but his heart still couldn't accept it. Takemichi then tells Mikey a message from Hama that Toman and Valhalla will fight. After leaving the grave, Chifuyu asks Takemichi to team up investigating Kisaki. Chifuyu even promises will help him becoming the leader of Toman and asks Takemichi to help him doing what he wants. Takemichi accepts his partnership offer. Doesn't want to waste the time, both Takemichi and Chifuyu immediately investigate to find a connection between Kisaki Teda and Valhalla. They then go to meet Osanai, Mobius' former leader. Osanai explains the first time he met Kisaki. Osanai thought Kisaki was a dull brat. Even though Kisaki had asked him to team up so that Osanai would be the leader of Tokyo. However, it turned out that Osanai was merely a stepping stone for Kisaki. The battle on August 3rd when Draken got stabbed was actually Kisaki's plan. Started with Kisaki had cornered Pachin to create as a reason to fight with Toman, until finally took all the blame to Osanai. After that, Kisaki tried to get closer to Mikey by saying that he disliked what Osanai had done. Kisaki tried to get Mikey's attention with a bait that he could free Pachin. Kisaki even intended to kill Draken in the previous battle so he would take number 2 spot in Toman. Kisaki then dumped Osanai and got to Hama. Osanai tells that Kisaki is a very dangerous guy. Kisaki can kill people without getting his hands dirty. Finally, Chifu realizes who the mastermind behind Valhalla is. The leader of Valhalla, who is unknown by others, is no other than Kisaki Teda. Takemichi then decides to go back to the future to meet Draken. Takemichi is surprised as Draken tells him that the decisive battle between Valhalla and Toman was won by Valhalla. For the first time, Toman lost in a battle. Then it was created the new Tokyo Manji under Valhalla. Mikey was still the leader as Draken thought Valhalla was a team that was created for the sake of Mikey. Mikey revealed that Toman's loss that day was Mikey's fault. That day, Mikey killed Kazutora. After their investigation about Bloody Halloween, Nato and Takemichi concludes that Mikey killed Kazutora because Kazutora killed Baji. Takemichi's new mission is to save Baji and prevent Kisaki's plan. Draken meets Kazutora and asks him to cancel the battle between Valhalla and Toman, saying that he will not be happy no matter what the result will be. He asks why Kazutora hates Mikey because he testified that helped Kazutora leaving the juvenile prison earlier. Kazutora swears he will crush Toman on 31st. Draken protests, saying Mikey doesn't want to fight. A day prior to the battle between Toman and Valhalla, Takemichi brings Chifu to meet Baji. Chifu asks Baji if he had a clue about Kisaki. Chifu tells Baji that he suspects him being a spy for Toman. Furthermore, Chifu tells Baji that Baji doesn't need to stay in Valhalla anymore as he has found information about Kisaki, and he is afraid that Baji will become an eternal enemy of Toman tomorrow. Baji then tells Chifu not to trust anyone but his friends, and that he commits to crush Toman as a member of Valhalla. Takemichi then asks to speak with Baji alone. He tells Baji that whatever his intention is, he must stay alive tomorrow as his death will make Mikey sad. As a response, Baji tells Takemichi to tell Mikey that he will kill him tomorrow. After that, Toman gathers to discuss about the battle. Mikey tells them that they will not get anything even if they win the battle, and Baji has sided with enemy. Toman doesn't take betrayal easily. Hearing this, Chifu tells Takemichi that they cannot stop Mikey now. Unexpectedly, Mikey sits suddenly and says he only wants to be a child, and that he doesn't want to fight Baji. He tells Toman that they will crush Valhalla and bring Baji back tomorrow. Toman agrees, but Kisaki says that it runs as he planned. The day of the battle, the spectators gather in the abandoned car lot to see the battle between Toman and Valhalla because the winner of the battle will be a step closer to take over Tokyo. Hansen, a member of Ikebukuro criminal black members, is in charge to oversee the fight. Hansen tells the two leaders to come in. Mikey thanks him for agreeing to oversee the fight. Draken and Kazutora step in towards Hansen to decide the rules of the battle, whether it is 5-on-5 or an all-out melee with everyone. Draken tells Kazutora, as Valhalla started the fight, he has one condition. If Toman wins, they will be taking Baji back. Kazutora replies that Baji joined Valhalla on his own accord, thus they cannot take him back, but Draken insists on his intention that makes Kazutora angry. Hansen then warns Kazutora not to start fighting. Kazutora punches Hansen in the face, telling Toman that Valhalla intends to crush them to death. The Tio gangs run towards each other, starting the fight. As the brawl between Valhalla and Toman starts, Takemichi looks for Baji but stuck in the fight. Kazutora tries to launch his punch on Mikey but is blocked by Draken, who tells him that he was not near with Mikey's level. But Draken is busy with Hama, who suddenly comes and kicks him. It makes Kazutora has his time to fight Mikey. Takemichi is beaten by Valhalla member, but Mitsuya saves him. Mitsuya scolds him of being off guard. Takemichi comes back to his sense that to save Baji he must fight. But Takemichi is poor in fighting, moreover when he sees two members of Valhalla around him. Shifu comes behind him, convincing Takemichi by offering to take his back and tells him to focus on his goal. Shifu says although everyone gets scared in the fight, the matter is how they deal with it. Supported by Shifu's words and his goal to save Hinata, Takemichi gets a hold of himself and starts to fight back. Although he gets help from Chifu, he still gets beaten numerous times by Valhalla members. However, he determines to fight as he sees it as an obstacle to prevent him stopping the worst future. Division captains like Mitsuya and Draken manage to fight their opponents easily. However, because Valhalla outnumbers them, several Toman members can be defeated and they lose spirit. Draken must protect other members. That's why he cannot focus in fighting against Valhalla. Hama tells Draken to fight him, but there are many Valhalla members standing around them. Suddenly, they are disturbed by a roar from Takemichi, who nearly faints. Takemichi keeps fighting and determines to win. Takemichi has nearly passed out due to exhaustion. Mitsuya catches him. He is impressed with Takemichi even though Takemichi has a poor fighting skill. He has a high determination and enthusiasm. Due to his high spirit, other Toman members get a hold of themselves and fight to crush Valhalla, and Draken doesn't need to protect other members. Draken runs towards Hama to fight. Draken gets to see Hama and punches him and sends him flying behind. That surprised and amazed everyone.
待たせたな。おいおい、大丈夫か？すげえ。行くぞ！ハンマー！おいや、ドラケン！なんだ今の？何メートル？
Elsewhere, Mikey chases Kazutora and stop on a pile of used cars. Mikey is attacked by Chanbo and Chom, Valhalla captains that Kazuto met at Juvie. Mikey manages to hold Chanbo's attack, but he is difficult to fight Valhalla captains due to uneven car surface prevents him to launch his deadly kicks. Although Mikey manages to avoid Chanbo's attacks, another Valhalla captain, Chom, jumps behind him. While Mikey tries to deal with Chanbo and Chom, Kazutora spots a metal pipe and takes it. Mikey blocks their attacks, but Kazutora beats him with the pipe and makes Mikey to pass out. Kazutora declares winning for Valhalla. Kazutora then tells Chanbo and Chom to hold Mikey as he beats him with the pipe. Hama states the battle is over while Rindu Haitani states that Mikey has lost. Draken hurries to help Mikey but is attacked by Hama. Meanwhile, Kazutora intends to kill an enemy, referring to Mikey to be a hero. Mikey asks Kazutora if it was his reason for killing Shinichiro. Mikey finally gets himself off from Chanbo and Chom. Mikey kicks Kazutora until he passes out. Chanbo, Chom, and Kazutora faint from Mikey's deadly kick. Seeing Mikey is exhausted, Choji takes the charge as the leader of Valhalla to attack Mikey. Chifu and Mitsuya try to stop Valhalla to reach Mikey, but they are outnumbered. On the other hand, Draken is still fighting against Hama. Takemichi hurries to get to Mikey, but he is beaten by several members of Valhalla. As Choji is about to attack Mikey, Kisaki steps in between them and knocks down Choji. As Kisaki declares that the 1st Division will protect Mikey, Takemichi remembers why he recognized Choji. He first saw him with Kisaki. Toman members including Mitsuya and Draken are impressed with Kisaki's skill and loyalty. Takemichi realizes that no matter what its result, Kisaki will still reach his goal. As Draken tells Kisaki that he trusts Mikey to him, Baji appears behind Kisaki about to beat him with the pipe. Baji manages to knock out Kisaki to cheer Valhalla members. Draken asks him to stop. Mitsuya then tells Baji that they come to bring him back. Takemichi is panicked as he believes Baji will be killed if he keeps fighting. Suddenly, Chifu appears in front of Baji, blocking his way. Baji tells Chifu to leave, but he refuses. Chifu tells Baji that killing Kisaki will lead him to deal with Mikey, therefore it is not the right time to save Toman from Kisaki. As response, Baji hits Chifu with the pipe, telling Chifu that he only holds him to be used in the battle so that he doesn't care with Chifu. Chifu tells Baji that he wants to protect him. If Baji wants to pass him, he will not hold back. Baji tells Chifu to fight him in 10 seconds, but Chifu doesn't move. Baji then tells him that killing him was the only way to stop him. As Baji reaches the countdown, Takemichi pushes Baji to move and tells Chifu to stop Baji with him. While crying, Chifu tells Takemichi that he cannot fight Baji as Baji is someone he respects. Baji nudges Takemichi's head and gets himself off. It makes Takemichi get drowned into his consciousness until he remembers his goal to save Hinata and Mikey. Takemichi gets his sense and determination back to the better future, starting with saving Baji from Kisaki. Suddenly, Takemichi remembers that Kazutora is the one who wants to kill Baji. Takemichi tries to search for Kazutora, but he cannot see him on a pile of the cars. Kazutora suddenly appears behind Baji and stabs him. Before Kazutora stabs Baji, he has thrown Kazutora and Baji from him. Baji thanks Takemichi for saving him. He says that the stab wound is only a scratch. Chifuyu reaches Kazutora and asks his real intention. Takemichi tells Baji he is glad that Baji is alive. Baji tells Takemichi that he would defeat Kisaki. Takemichi and Chifuyu offers to fight Kisaki together. However, Baji punches them and tells them to go away. As Takemichi asks Baji why he insisted in doing it alone, Baji replies, asking Takemichi to take care of Mikey for him. 50 members of 3rd Division stand between Kisaki to protect Mikey. Baji then begins to fight them. Meanwhile, Kisaki observes that Kazuroda failed and calls Hama. Baji finally defeats all Toman members and walks towards Kisaki. Baji holds a sharp pipe and is ready to kill Kisaki. Suddenly, Baji kneels down and coughs blood from the wound. He is exhausted and passes out. Chifuyu rushes to get to Baji to find out what Kisaki had done to Baji. Kisaki tells him he didn't do anything. Chifuyu sees pool of blood under Baji's body. Takemichi realizes that Baji had a severe stab wound. As Chifuyu screams, calling out Kazuto's name, Takemichi realizes that everything ran as Kisaki's plan. With Baji's death, Kisaki tells that Kazutora leads Baji into Valhalla to kill him, which he admits as a lie to provoke Mikey, who has got a hold of himself. Mikey walks towards Kazutora and wants to kill him, but Hama tries to stop him. But Mikey easily defeats Hama in one kick and he faints. After seeing the captains lose, the members of Valhalla run away, scared they might be killed by Mikey. Kazutora tells Mikey that people can betray anyone and tells him to stop the battle. He knows Mikey must die. As response, Mikey punches Kazutora, telling him if he ruins things he cares about, then he must crush Kazutora. Baji thanks Mikey for being angry as seeing him injured. While trying to get up and walk towards Mikey and Kazutora, Baji says that Kazutora's stab wound would not kill him. In return, Baji draws his own knife and stabs himself. Baji tells Kazutora that he wouldn't be the person who killed him. Chifuyu, who realized what he is doing, rushes to get to his side and asks him why he did that. Meanwhile, Kazutora tells Mikey that Mikey will die with Baji. Mikey tells Kazutora that he will beat him to die. Takemichi gets to Baji's side and asks him what he wanted to get by stabbing himself. Baji then tells Takemichi that Kisaki was the enemy, soothing that Baji saw before when he saw Kisaki offering a way to Mikey to free Pa-Chin from prison. This request was surely not for free. Kisaki asked a position as the 3rd Division captain in Toman. Baji doesn't consider Kisaki as the 3rd Division captain. Baji says that only Pa-Chin would be the captain of the 3rd Division. Baji also tells Takemichi that the 6th Toman founder was his treasure, even though he couldn't fix Toman by himself. Now, Mikey doesn't have a reason to kill Kazutora because Kazutora isn't the person who killed Baji. Baji died in his own hands. Before his death, Baji tells Takemichi that he reminds him of Shinichiro and tells him he leaves Mikey and Toman in his hands. Takemichi cries, asking him not to die. While screaming out loud, Takemichi steps in between Mikey and Kazutora to stop Mikey, who threatens to kill him if he keeps on getting himself involved. Even after being hit by Mikey, Takemichi desperately asks him to stop. Takemichi tells him that Baji didn't want this to happen. Mikey is angry and tells Takemichi not to tell about Baji. That leads Takemichi frustrated and take off his jacket. Takemichi explains that Baji died for Toman. Baji killed himself so that Kazutora wouldn't be responsible for his death. As Takemichi took off his jacket, a charm fell off. Manjaro picks up the charm and asks Takemichi where he got it from. Takemichi explains he picked it up at the last meeting. Mikey recognizes the charm and realizes that Baji had kept it all this time since Toman first created as their goal to new era for delinquents to protect others. Mikey has light in his eyes. Takemichi realizes that Baji fought to protect his friends and still determined to Toman's goal. After that, Mikey cries and apologizes to Baji as he had walked a different path from their goal. While other Toman members are still shedding tears, The siren from the police car is heard coming near. Both gangs start to leave the parking lot, but Kazutora decides to stay with Baji. Kazutora wants to take responsibility for his action and Mikey doesn't stop him doing that. Right before Mikey and the rest leaving the scene, Kazutora bows his head, apologizing to Mikey, saying that although he doesn't expect for forgiveness for Shinichiro and Baji's death, moreover he says that he would bear the burden of their deaths for the rest of his life. The conflict on October 31st leads to one casualty and one arrest, known as Bloody Halloween. Toman is considered the winner of the conflict. Finally, Takemichi succeeds in changing the past. 2 weeks later, there are still many people talk about the Bloody Halloween. Draken relays Mikey's message to Takemichi to come at the meeting. The next evening, Toman gathers for their meeting. Takemichi admits he is not confident with his uniform, while Pan and Mitsuya encourage him. When Draken sees him, he smiles and says that it doesn't suit him. Takemichi agrees and laughs. He feels like someone was dressing him. Draken welcomes Takemichi and the gang. Takemichi thanks him enthusiastically. Draken tells Takemichi the meeting will be started soon and it will be very important for him. Mikey appears on the stage with Hama and Shifuyu behind him. Draken says the meeting will be fierce as the goal of the meeting is to end the Bloody Halloween. Seeing Hama, the crowd wonders why the member of Valhalla presents in their meeting. Takemichi is confused. As he sees Hama and Shifuyu in puzzle, Takemichi wonders what is going on. Recalling about the previous conflict, or known as Bloody Halloween, Mikey announced that Ham, the vice captain of Valhalla, has a message to deliver to Toman. Hama then explains that Valhalla never had an official leader. Thus, they will unite under Toman. Hearing this announcement, Toman cheers for their growth. They sing along in the celebration. Seeing the incident is revealed, Takemichi realizes that nothing much changes as affiliation Valhalla with Toman is basically same with the gangs that joined. That time, Hama tells Kisaki to come forward. Hama praises Kisaki for uniting Toman and former members of Valhalla under Toman's leadership. Takemichi feels disgusted as he remembers Baji's words about Kisaki, who was actually Toman's enemy. Takemichi feels he'd have failed to change the future as Kisaki is still able to manipulate Toman with the affiliation Valhalla and Toman. Kisaki shakes hand with Hama. Mikey then announces extra topic to discuss at the meeting. Mikey remembers about Baji's death. He turns to Shifuyu and asks him to continue the discussion about Baji and First Division. Shifuyu comes forward as the vice captain of the First Division. He reveals that he thinks of leaving Toman after Baji's death, but is stopped by Mikey. Mikey asks him if he really wants to leave the First Division of Toman. Shifuyu thinks that leading the First Division is a huge responsibility. After discussing with Mikey, Shifuyu decides to appoint a new captain for the First Division. Shifuyu recommends Takemichi as the candidate of the new captain of the First Division. He explains it is what Baji wanted. Mikey agrees and tells Takemichi to lift his head up. Thinking about the future that depends on him, Takemichi realizes he still can make change in Toman. While crying, Takemichi lifts his head up, stating that he will do his best. Draken asks Takemichi what he is crying for as Draken and others notice Takemichi's lack of discipline. Besides that, Mitsuya states that he needs to remake the embroidery on Mikey's uniform. Mikey tells Takemichi that he is lifting his head too high. Finally, the first season of Tokyo Revengers reaches its end.